It's the video you've all been waiting for. INT Tank meets Void Gauntlet. Dun dun dun. Hello everyone, welcome back, and here we are. We are going to be talking about the INT Tank Void Gauntlet build. A lot of you have requested it, and I just needed time because I'm on a lower pop server, so it's a little harder for me to record content sometimes. I wanted to get this out to you as soon as I could, but I also wanted to make sure that it covered everything that you were asking, because I've had quite a few questions in regards to, how do I make the best sword and shield / Void Gauntlet build? And as you know, in the last video of the INT Tank build, I talked about how, you can use Fire Staff as your off. You can use Ice Gauntlet as your off. You can use all these, you can use all these different weapons in your offhand. So you can use Ice Gauntlet, Fire Staff, Void Gauntlet now, Rapier, and Musket. So you've got a ton of stuff at your arsenal here. So when you're going out and PvPing, you can drop down to light armor, and you could be a mage if you want to, with the Fire Staff and even the Void Gauntlet. Like there's so many different intelligence builds based around the Void Gauntlet that I'm not going to be covering that. What I'm going to be covering is I'm going to be covering the tank aspect of it, where we use sword and shield with an intelligence item. And in this case, the Void Gauntlet, because I already went over Ice Gauntlet, Fire Staff, Rapier, and Musket, because Musket you would never use with the sword and shield personally. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. But the other ones did make sense. For instance, Ice works really well in Lazarus, Fire works really well in Genesis, and the Rapier also works really well on the last boss in Lazarus when combined with sword and shield. So today we're going to talk about Void Gauntlet. So let's just get right into it. As you can see, my stats are still the same. When the sword and shield comes out, the constitution goes up to 150. You always want 150 constitution when you're tanking, because it does negative 10% to critical damage taken, and that is very good. I find it more useful than plus 20% increase to armor. With heavy armor, you don't need it. And it also allows you to keep this 30% duration to damage over time spells. So how does that affect the Void Gauntlet? Well, let's show you. So we've got your weapon mastery here, and let me show you how I spec the Void Gauntlet. I know this is going to be really subjective. A lot of people are still trying to figure out where they want this stuff and the best build for themselves. And this is what I have found I like. So let's get into it. First of all, we have Petrifying Scream, which does 100% weapon damage, staggering, and inflicts root to enemies 5 meters in front of you. Disable enemy movement for 2 seconds. Then when you go more, it increases that root by 1 second for people below 50 health. And you gain Fortify for each enemy hit, increasing damage absorption for 10% for 10 seconds per hit. Stacks up to 3 times. This is huge for a tank, especially because you're not going to have your sword and shield out at that moment. Then we're going to skip this for a second. We're going to go here. Oblivion. This summons the circular void energy. Oblivion is basically giving you what you've always wanted. It's empowering you with Empower, and it's giving you a ton of DPS. You want that, because the sword and shield, you all know, that thing hits like a little pea shooter. So with this, it allows you to hit even harder. Then it also weakens the targets, so they get hit harder. And then it also gives you stamina per second for you and anyone else in the radius of Oblivion. This is, in my opinion, one of the most important, not only in PvE and dungeon content, but also in wars. Because when you throw down that thing, oh my goodness, you have just turned the tides. You have turned the tides. Everyone in there is getting empowered. Everybody there is getting stamina. And if you have a shield group like this, they are just not going to drop stamina. That is the most important part about this, is this changes the entire meta for how, gaining stamina works. And that is going to lead me into showing you real quickly what I did to my shield build so that I never run out of stamina. We'll come back to the Void Gauntlet in a second so I can go through the rest. But shield is now completely different. I took all points out of Swordmaster, which is crazy because I used to love the perks from, slow reduction, crit chance, also moves 33% faster while blocking. These were really nice, but they just didn't work as good as I wanted them to when you could replace them with things like, block gains gives you fortify, and also stamina damage reduced 15% when blocking a ranged attack with a shield. So useful. So I just put everything into blocking. And the main reason, and it stays the same as in the last video, is invigorating bulwark. This allows it to gain 15 stamina when hitting a target with shield bash or shield rush. So you have these two skills right here, and every time you use those, you gain stamina. So now, do you understand what's happening here? Stamina, stamina, stamina. Stamina. You can keep this shield up indefinitely on so many bosses. Not only that, I recommend running healers, having healers in your group running it as well, because if they run up to you during, in between their heals, they drop that thing down at your feet and everybody around you, you are just gonna tank forever. Especially with the weird tweaks that came out in 1.1, assuming that that's not gonna change, but I'm pretty sure it will. Genesis and dungeons like that, you are getting like shield broken in 1 or 2 hits from mini mobs, which makes no sense. So hopefully that changes. But even so, if it doesn't change with the Oblivion, oh my goodness, so much goodness, so much goodness. Just keeps that stamina going and going and going, like the Energizer Bunny. Anyway, let's go back to the Void Gauntlet build here so you can get a better idea of what else I do. So we've shown the tanky part, stamina building. We've shown the war part, stamina building, empowerment, weakening. This is such a powerful skill. And yes, it is rooted to one place, but it's so powerful. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, why didn't you pick Baleful Tether? Well, first of all, Baleful Tether is like trying to shoot a pea shooter at someone. I don't understand what they thought when they made Baleful Tether, but when you try to shoot it, I don't know how to describe it other than it's literally like taking a straw and shooting a spitball at someone. That's how hard it is to hit. So someone more skilled than I may be able to use Baleful Tether better. However, I just find that this overall, so this is one target, right? And this can be multiple targets. So this one has less of a failure rate if you miss, and it's going to do a lot more to more people than this, which is single target. However, if you are fighting a boss, this can be very useful. You wouldn't go all the way down here anyway, because you're not going to get focus for this build. It gives you that mana regeneration, but who cares? It doesn't matter. So that's why we have this. Mana costs are reduced by 25% while above 50% mana. So with this 5% mana per successful ranged light attack against targets affected by Void Gauntlet debuffs, I'm not a big fan of this because I don't use the ranged attacks very often. I mostly use this Void Blade. So this wasn't important to me. So I'd rather do 10% more damage on a successfully ranged heavy attack if I ever use it. Mostly it's just to get this. You want this so that you can, do the combo, which is, stun them, drop the Oblivion, bust out that sword, and just wow, 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 and just Halo, sword the crap out of them. And the damage from the Halo sword is incredible. Here, we got a purple flagged up. Hello, sir. Oh my god, dude. All right, so we got Void Blade. Summon a Void Blade energy that converts your basic attacks to melee. This thing is basically... this is like Sword and Shield's best friend. It allows you to finally do the damage you always wanted to. And it pairs so well with the Sword and Shield. It's because you can swap the Sword and Shield when you need to, but then when you're not needed, because sometimes it's not needed for you to do for you to tank. You just need to do a ton of DPS, and this allows you to do that. It just does so much DPS. It gives you Fortify. It has 10% critical damage. I skipped this one because I don't have focus, and 5% damage getting healing on yourself is really not that useful. But I did put points into Leeching Agony, Refreshing Precision. You could see the general gist of what I picked here. It's basically more damage, empowerment, more damage, reduced cooldowns, more damage, and this really helps. Void Caller is wonderful. It's great for the weapon damage, and also buffing your team. You're a tank. Your job is to help your team. I hate to say it, but you know what? Tanks are supposed to help their team. You've got defensive formation, which gives your allies, reduced damage by 30%. That's super helpful. It helps your team. And then you have all these things to empower your team, to help stun mobs. And you're like, well, why did you get stunned? Why are you using stun? Stun is useless in PvE. Well, maybe, but not really, because it can hit multiple targets, and a lot of dungeons allow you to stun their mobs, especially the non-boss mobs. Plus, the pure damage that comes out of that scream is incredible. It's 100% weapon damage, and it staggers and inflicts root. And then with the extra stuff here, gaining that fortify, it just makes you a tank without having to hold a shield for that couple seconds that you're gonna pop this, and then you're gonna pop this, and then you're gonna pop this, and then you're gonna wow, and you don't have your shield out, and you're doing DPS. You need that protection, so it gives you fortify, and then swap, boom, back to the shield, and you're like, yeah. Oh, it is such a wicked combo. So this is also really helpful in group PvP, open world PvP, OPR rush. If you grew up with the right people, basically, if you make a PvE group, like one healer, 3 DPS, one healer, 3 DPS, and one tank. Yeah, that's right, 5. Haha. Oh my goodness, you guys are unstoppable. Just go up front, let the healer do the stuff, and then when they're not looking, they're thinking, oh, it's just a tank. He's just, oh, look at him. He's just blocking, blah, blah, blah. You do this. Bam! And then you just, and they're like, oh God, and then you stun them, and oh God, they can't move, they're dead. I'm telling you, like, it shreds people apart. Also, I am wearing full heavy armor. This build does use full heavy armor. I just have the new skin on it because it looks cool. And since it's almost Thanksgiving, I figured, festive. But yeah, I am using heavy armor. We've got heavy. Like I said in the last time, when you want to go and do PvP, you can run this. You can run this build 100%. You do not have to switch. This build is enough DPS now where you can have that shield as your defense, and then your attack is your Void Gauntlet. As long as you don't continue to choke yourself like I keep doing to myself, you'll be good. Also, that choke is actually really helpful. I know a lot of people get thrown off by it, but let's say I've done this, and I've done this, and I've done this, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm out of mana. I just, whoop, look at that. Look how fast pops my mana up. And it, as a tank where you already have like 10k, 12k health, you can spare some of that health. You're good, and you can quickly get back into the fight and use all your awesome abilities on the Void Gauntlet. So synergistically, it works really well. It works even better if you have a healer also running Void Gauntlet. It works good in wars. It works good in Outpost Rush. It works good in PvE. It works good in group content. It works really good to burn down other healers. You know how healers can just stand in their circle? Yeah, well, you can counter their circle now, stun them, and then just DPS to cripple them. Oh my goodness, it's great. If you coordinate those stuns, this stun is so deadly, man. Like the amount of time it keeps someone stunned and the range is so good. So it's a 2-second stun, and then it's a 3-second stun if they're below 50% health. So if you're coordinating these stuns with your friends, oh my goodness, nobody gets away. Nobody gets away. You just win. And then obviously, if you don't want to use your sword and shield and you want to go back to light armor as an mage, go for it. Just swap it out and then pick whatever weapons you want. Fire staff, ice gauntlet, rapier. The INT tank is diverse, and you have to adjust depending on your content, right? So a lot of people are like, what's the best weapon? Well, the best weapon is the one that beats your opponent in the situation you're in. So hopefully that's helpful. I don't want to make this video too long. We're already like really going on here, but I wanted you to see what I'm using, the attributes I have. So you've got my attributes, you've got my Void Gauntlet build. You see my sword and shield build that's now changed, and it's just a stamina builder, man. And it is so fun to just tank in PvP and PvE. PvP, it's really fun to tank someone like this and then just swap and just throw a stun, bring your sword out, drop this, and they're just like, whoa, where did this DPS come from? I thought this tank was just tanking. You surprise so many people, and it's so much fun to do. And then you go back to this, and they're like, crap, I can't get through that. So you're just getting stamina and stunning. You're getting your health back, and it's incredible. And then while you've got Defiant Stance on, you could get your health back. Let's say you need mana, and you use this to get mana, and your health goes down, right? Switch over, hit your Defiant Stance, and then switch back. Boom, look at that, health. Oh, it's so synergistic. So synergistic. Anyway, this is my thoughts on the INT Tank with the Void Gauntlet. I think that they are a wonderful combo. I think it allows you to have the sword and shield on even when you're out in the world PvPing instead of having to swap back and forth. So you're less magey, I guess, if you want. I mean, you can play your mage, right? So it gives you a lot of options. If you're bored one day and you just want to go all light armor and pop out, you know, your ice gauntlet and fire, go for it. But at the same time, if you really like using your shield and your sword and you really like the Void Gauntlet and your heavy armor, you don't have to switch for PvP at all. You are very useful. You are extremely tanky, but you put out a ton of damage. So you're now a beautiful, beautiful hybrid. INT Tank just got so much better. The utility that comes from 3 different stuns, team and self damage mitigation, team and self empowerment, and pure DPS, I think we have a winner. And I can't wait to hear all of your experiences with it. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if I missed something. Let me know if you have any questions. And as always, if you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, dislike, and sub if you haven't for more content. And yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I enjoyed the feedback I got from the INT Tank, the first build, and now I cannot wait to hear what you guys think about the Void Gauntlet build. All right, everyone, have a wonderful evening. Have a good Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time.